Bakshi's unfinished rings, Bowie falling to earth, Connery's wildest costume. Peter Jackson once said, one movie could wake up your imagination for life. King Kong did that for him when he was 8. The 70s took that spark and ran with it. These are 10 must-see 70s fantasy movies he recommends. Starting with number 10, Wizards.
Hey, Louie, what are we gonna do with the prisoners?
How do I know?
Ralph Bakshi takes a post-apocalyptic wasteland and splits it between magic and machines, then draws a line in charcoal and neon. On one side, elves, fairies, an ancient wizard. On the other, tanks, propaganda, projectors that weaponize the past. The movie looks handmade because it is rotoscoped battles, illustrated storybook frames, live-action inserts that shouldn't fit but do. The tone is cracked fairy tale, the kind that grows a cult by accident, then keeps it with weird sincerity. What makes it a Jackson-adjacent essential is the commitment to world texture over exposition. Jackson's talked often about falling for films that made effects feel physical, not theoretical. Wizards is rough-edge proof that fantasy sticks when the paint does. You can feel the pencil lines, the dust on old reels, the odd disco pulse none of us asked for and now can't forget. It isn't tidy, it's alive. Number 9, Bedknobs and Broomsticks.
You're not suggesting that I should take these children into my house.
Exactly.
Jackson always praised movies that build a world with conviction and craft, exactly what this film does. Angela Lansbury plays Eglantine Price like the magic is real, full stop. In wartime, Dorset, 3 evacuees land in her cottage and discover she's learning witchcraft by mail. A brass bed becomes their ride, down Portobello Road, under the sea, and onto an animated island where animals play a very serious game of soccer. The story keeps things simple so the magic can breathe. Live action slides into animation so cleanly you stop looking for the join. The Sherman Brothers songs carry you along. David Tomlinson keeps it light without winking. And the effects team nails the big moments so well the movie took home the Oscar for Best Special Visual Effects that year. You don't sit there counting composites. You feel your chest rise when the bed lifts. Family fantasy doesn't need snark to work. It needs belief, texture, and a straight face when the spell is spoken. This has all 3, and the visible stitches only make the handiwork easier to love. Number 8, The Phantom Tollbooth.
Words in a word are fantastic. You can hint them, you can say them.
Jackson has said he and his collaborators were trying to make these films for the kid I was. And this is one of those movies which does exactly that. Milo is bored by everything, school, his room, even his own thoughts, until a mysterious package arrives. A toll booth that asks for a tiny coin and gives him a new way to see. Chuck Jones starts in live action with Butch Patrick drifting through a gray afternoon, then flips to animation the moment Milo drives through. Suddenly, rhyme and reason are places you can visit. Puns walk and talk. Ideas have rules. It barely made a ripple on release. MGM was a mess. But it found a second life on TV. Kids who watched it grew up remembering how it made thinking feel like play, and play feel like thinking. Hans Conried's voice work is a smile you can hear. The designs are bright without being glossy.
Right! It's all the fault of that wretched brother of mine, King Azaz.
And the movie treats a child's attention like something to earn, not trap. By the time Milo gets home, his city looks the same. He doesn't. That's the trick. The magic isn't the booth. It's the way he starts looking at everything after he's used it. Number 7, The Land That Time Forgot. Jackson's soft spot for hand-built spectacle is no secret, and this movie shows exactly that. A WWI U-boat takes on survivors and drifts into Caprona, a lost world where nothing ever went extinct. Director Kevin Connor doesn't hide the budget. He turns it into texture. The dinosaurs are rods and rubber, sculpted and lit, so they throw real shadows and push real air. You see light roll across latex. Actors flinch because there's something there to flinch at. The plot keeps a tight line. Enemies become allies, fuel runs low, the map runs out, but the honesty of the effects sells the wonder. It's Edgar Rice Burroughs by way of Amicus. Earnest, unironic, and strangely moving in how it shows you what a crew can build, with glue, cables, and no sleep. That love of miniatures, armatures, and rubber and wire creatures is exactly why a film like this still feels essential. And remember, King Kong, 1933. is the one he says switched on his imagination at 8 years old. Once you know that, Caprona's pulp magic clicks into place. Number 6, Jabberwocky. Terry Gilliam takes a nonsense word and builds a real muddy town around it. Streets clog with vendors, rules trip over themselves, and a monster becomes the perfect excuse for people in charge to look busy and sell fear. Michael Palin plays a decent man pushed along by other people's panic until he's the one pointed at the dragon. The jokes start with mess and mayhem, then sharpen into a quiet jab at how incompetence hides behind pageantry. Nothing here is polished. Helmets are dented, rooms are cramped, and the creature works because it's shown just enough. Inside a world handled by human hands. That crooked fairy tale tone lines up with the kind of filmmaking Jackson keeps championing. Cinema that feels made, not manufactured. Gilliam's grubby fable fits that brief. Number 5, When Dinosaurs Ruled the Earth. Peter Jackson once said that The Lord of the Rings is my Ray Harryhausen movie, using many of the techniques pioneered by Harryhausen over 50 years ago. Hammer imagines a world just born, where people and dinosaurs share the horizon, and legends are still damp with seawater. The science is make-believe, but the feeling is real. Stop-motion creatures thrash through actual waves. A long neck snaps toward the camera, and for a second, your brain believes, then believes again, because the labor shows in every frame. That's the hit Jackson talks about. Images that declare themselves and dare you to meet them halfway. The story is kept clean on purpose. A young woman is taken from her tribe, pushed into a journey across raw landscapes, and faces dangers you can point at. What hooks you is the craft, armatures, plates, composites, rubbed into the picture until the fantasy sticks. It plays like a perfect Saturday matinee. Salt on your tongue, glue on your fingers, a daydream built by patient hands. And that willingness to risk a little goofiness to touch genuine awe is exactly the kind of courage filmmakers raised on this stuff keep rewarding. Number 4, Lancelot Du Lac. Robert Bresson takes the Arthur story and scrapes off all the shine until only consequence is left. Armor doesn't just clatter, it sounds like guilt. Faces stay still. Emotions don't announce themselves. Sacred quests turn into the routine of vows made, broken, and tallied. Fun? Not really. It plays like a trance, asking what magic means when honor looks like theater, and desire won't fit inside rules. Jackson often points to filmmakers who reshape how shots move and land, think of Wells, and how his battles teach you to read a frame. And Bresson, from the opposite angle, makes subtraction into style. What you see matters, and what he refuses to show matters just as much. The result is a stripped-down breakdown that makes other Arthur tales feel like souvenir stands. If you want a 70s proof that fantasy can haunt without glitter, this is the hard, unblinking watch. Number 3, Zardoz.
Go forth and kill.
Sean Connery in a bandolier, a stone head that lies to its followers. John Boorman takes the energy of a lost Lord of the Rings plan and pours it into a pagan science fantasy about immortal elites rotting from boredom and a violent outsider who cracks their bubble. It's absurd the way dreams are absurd. Big symbols, sharp ideas, logic that moves sideways. The music leans medieval when you expect synths, which only pushes the movie closer to myth and warning at the same time. Jackson has said King Kong was the film that made him want to make movies. He loves bold moves when they come with real craft. Zardoz is bold all the way through, and even its misses feel like doors opening for somebody else. The point isn't that everything should look like this. It's that fantasy gets braver when it stops asking for permission. Number 2, The Man Who Fell to Earth.
Are you the first?
The first what?
Jackson often praises directors who reinvent form and let style be the structure, which is exactly what Nicholas Roeg does here. David Bowie walks in like he's tuned from another channel, calm, focused, carrying patents that could change a planet and a mission that can't survive us. Roeg doesn't tell the story in straight lines. He edits the way memory works. Images repeat, time folds, cause and effect slide until you feel unsteady. It's shelved as science fiction, adapted from Walter Tevis. But the core is fantasy, identity under a glamour, a gift that turns into a curse as TV, alcohol, and constant watching strip a stranger down to the bone. What keeps you locked in is craft, rogue sharp associative cutting, the quiet, aching mood that hangs in every room, Bowie's stillness that shifts the whole scene without a word. Restorations have kept the film alive because it still hums today. You don't just watch it, you sit inside it. If Jackson responds to movies that change how you feel time and space, this lies right beside that idea. Mood is meaning, image is argument, a slow drift you only later realize was a fall. Number 1, The Lord of the Rings.
Goodbye.
Before Middle-earth took over the culture, Ralph Bakshi swung first, with an animated rings that doesn't finish the story, but proves the screen can hold hobbits, wraiths, and full-scale war. The rotoscope battles blur live action and drawing. The look is rough, eerie, sometimes uncanny, and that's the point. It feels unearthed, not polished. Book lovers argued with the changes, but the win is simple and huge. It made Tolkien cinematic at feature length, and taught audiences to accept epic fantasy as something you settle into, not skim past. Jackson has said that without Bakshi's film, he might not have gotten the green light for his version, and he's pushed back on myths about what he borrowed. The real story isn't rivalry, it's a relay. One movie tests the container, the next fills it to the brim. A bed that flies, a wizard drawing battle lines. An alien learning loneliness has its own gravity. Jackson loves cinema that breathes, rubber suits, matte seams, wonder you can touch. The 70s made those memories loud. Which one first? Wizard's raw spell work or Bakshi's rings? Drop your pick in the comments below.